All right, so you're prepping for a senior project manager interview.
Huge congrats.
Yeah, it's a big step, and we're here to make sure you walk in there feeling confident. So we're taking a deep dive into senior project manager interview questions plus answers from Workable.com.
Oh, yeah, published just last month, so it's a fantastic resource.
Yeah,
They really go beyond just listing questions. They break down what interviewers are actually looking for.
yeah, it's like we get to sneak a peek inside their heads
Yeah.
before we go in. But we all know, right? It's not about just memorizing answers.
No, absolutely not. You really want to understand the logic, the reasoning behind these questions, so you can really impress them with your insights, your experience.
Exactly. You got to really show that you can think on your feet.
Yeah, yeah. Problem solve.
Lead a team.
That's key.
Basically prove that you are ready to handle anything that comes your way.
Which, in a senior project manager role, that's a lot.
Oh, yeah. That's a lot. So before we jump into the questions themselves, can you give us like a quick overview, like what makes this senior project manager role different from, say, just a regular project manager?
Well, it's really all about the scope and the impact.
Okay.
Senior project managers, they oversee the entire life cycle of these really complex projects. We're talking multiple teams, multiple stakeholders.
Right.
They're responsible for this strategic planning, risk management, resource allocation. I mean, you name it. It's part of the job.
Yeah, so it's less about checking off those little tasks and more about leading the charge.
Exactly. You're steering the ship.
Yeah.
Interviewers, they're going to be looking for evidence of those leadership skills,
Right.
your ability to handle, those tricky situations, and really your deep understanding of project management principles.
Makes sense. Okay, so let's dive into the fun stuff, the interview questions themselves.
Yeah.
Workable.com, they kick things off with what they call operational and situational questions.
Yeah.
And these are designed to put you in the hot seat.
Oh, yeah. They want to see how you react under pressure, your approach to problems,
Yeah.
how you communicate your thought process.
Yeah, like there's this one, you're working on a project for an important client, and they keep changing their requirements.
Oh, I've been there.
How would you handle this? I feel like that's every project manager's nightmare.
Definitely a challenge. But it's a golden opportunity to show off your skills.
Okay, so walk me through it. Let's say the interviewer throws that question my way. What's the best way to approach it?
Well, first of all, never get defensive.
Okay.
Never make the client feel like they're wrong for changing their mind.
Right.
Start by emphasizing open communication. Tell them you'd work with them to really understand the reasons. Dig deep, find out what's driving these shifts.
Oh, active listening is key.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Empathy too. But then you need to move into, problem-solving mode.
Yeah.
You explain that you would assess the impact of these changes, right? On the timeline, the budget, the scope of the project.
So you're really showing that you're thinking about the big picture.
Exactly.
Yeah, strategically, all the different angles.
Right, because even a small change can have this ripple effect.
Totally.
Yeah. So then you want to outline potential solutions.
Yeah.
Maybe you propose a revised project plan. You explore alternative ways to meet their needs, or even you negotiate a compromise. Find that sweet spot.
It's really all about showing that you can be flexible, find creative solutions.
Yes.
Even when things get, messy.
That's the heart of it. You're demonstrating that you can roll with the punches, manage expectations, and deliver that successful project even when the goalposts keep moving.
I like that. All right, now, what about that we're not going to make the deadline conversation? Workable.com, they give this example. How would you explain to a customer and your manager that you won't be able to complete a project on time?
Ooh.
I'm already getting stressed out just thinking about it.
It's tough. It's a tough conversation.
Yeah.
But it's one that you need to be prepared for, especially at a senior level.
So no hiding under the desk and hoping it goes away?
No, absolutely not.
Okay, good.
You got to face it head on.
Yeah.
The key here is honesty, transparency, and being proactive, right?
Okay.
You want to frame this conversation as you taking ownership, working toward a solution. You're not just delivering bad news.
Okay, so how would you structure that conversation?
Well, first, just acknowledge, hey, this is a difficult conversation,
Right.
but I'm committed to finding the best path forward. Then you explain the reasons for the delay, taking responsibility where appropriate.
But what if it's like genuinely not your fault?
Right.
Like, what if the vendor messed up or there were just like unforeseen circumstances?
Yeah, even then, avoid blaming, whether
Yeah.
it's external factors or, throwing someone under the bus.
Right.
Focus on what you've learned from the situation
Okay.
and how you're applying those lessons to get back on track.
So it's about owning the problem,
Yes,
even if you didn't directly cause it.
exactly. Own it. And then, and this is the most important part, outline the steps you're taking to address it
Yeah.
and to mitigate, further delays.
Right.
Maybe you've revised the timeline, reallocated resources, adjusted the scope, whatever it is, be specific, and give them a realistic new delivery date.
Yeah.
Show that you're in control.
Yeah, so you're doing damage control, but you're also showing your leadership skills.
Absolutely. Yeah. You're not just like a messenger of bad news. You're showing that you can navigate a crisis, communicate effectively, and lead your team through these, challenging times.
I'm seeing why these situational questions are so
Yeah.
important. They really reveal a lot about a candidate's mindset,
Totally.
their approach.
It's not just about the right answer. It's about demonstrating how you think, how you communicate, how you handle the pressure.
All right, feeling much more prepared now for those curveballs.
Yeah.
Now, workable.com also has a whole section on what they call role-specific questions.
Yeah.
These seem more focused on the technical knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely. They want to see that you're not just a smooth talker.
Right.
You have the knowledge and experience to back it up.
So, like, for example, one question they highlight is about agile methodology.
Mm-hmm.
Can you give us just like a quick breakdown of what agile is and why it's such a big deal these days in project management?
Well, Agile is really all about flexibility, collaboration, and iterative development.
Okay.
So instead of this really rigid, waterfall style planning where everything's set in stone up front, Agile breaks down projects into these smaller, manageable cycles
Okay.
called sprints.
I've heard that term sprints. But what does that actually look like in practice?
Okay, so imagine like a track and field race, right?
Yeah.
In a waterfall approach, you plan out the entire race from start to finish.
Mhm.
With Agile, you focus on running one sprint at a time,
Okay.
and then you adjust your strategy along the way,
Mhm.
based on feedback, changing conditions.
So it's perfect for projects where things are kind of constantly in flux, evolving.
Exactly, yeah. And it allows teams to adapt to changes really quickly, gather that feedback, and deliver value incrementally, which is why, so many companies have adopted it, especially in these really fast-paced industries.
That makes sense. But the article also mentions that, agile isn't always the best fit. Why not?
Well, some projects they benefit from a more structured, predictable approach.
Mm.
If the requirements are really clear, not likely to change, or if the project involves a lot of dependencies, strict regulations, then, a traditional waterfall approach might actually be more appropriate.
So how would you answer a question like, when would you choose agile over a waterfall approach?
Well, you'd want to highlight your understanding of both methodologies
Okay.
and your ability to kind of assess the needs of that specific project.
Oh.
So, for example, you might say something like, if the project involves a high degree of uncertainty, requires frequent client input, or needs to be really adaptable to the market, then, Agile would be my go-to. However, if it's well-defined, fixed scope, requires strict adherence to, regulations, then a waterfall approach might be more suitable.
So you're showing that you're not just like following trends, you're thinking critically.
Exactly.
You're making an informed decision.
And that's what they're looking for. They want someone who can assess the situation, weigh the pros and cons, and choose the right tool for the job.
This is helpful. Now, aside from agile, what other role-specific knowledge might they throw our way?
Well, they're definitely going to want to know about your experience with project management software.
Of course.
Yeah. Be prepared to discuss, the platforms that you've used, the features, and how you've leveraged them to manage projects effectively.
So if I've used like a specific platform I should be ready to talk about, its pros and cons, how it helped me track progress, manage resources, things like that.
Exactly.
Right.
They want to see that you're comfortable with the technology and that you can use it to really streamline your workflow and enhance collaboration.
Okay, so agile project management software.
Oh.
Anything else I should be brushing up on?
Performance appraisal methods.
Oh, right.
Is that
Performance
cool?
appraisal methods.
Yeah,
Those could be a bit of a minefield.
they can be. But it's important to show that you understand the different methods, how to choose the right one for your team and for the goals of the project.
Yeah. I actually had a situation once where uh, using the wrong appraisal method almost, like, completely derailed a project.
Oh, tell me more about that. What happened?
Well, we were using like a very traditional top-down approach where I, as the project manager, was like solely responsible for evaluating everyone's, performance.
Mm-hmm.
But this project was very collaborative.
Yeah.
Everyone was contributing in different ways, and my like narrow focus on these individual metrics just totally missed like the synergy and innovation that were driving our success.
Yeah, that makes sense. A top-down approach, it sometimes can stifle creativity, teamwork.
Totally.
Yeah.
And it led to like a lot of resentment, disengagement. People felt like their unique contributions weren't being recognized. It wasn't until we switched to more of a like 360-degree feedback
Yeah.
system where everyone was providing input on each other's performance.
Yeah.
That's when things started to turn around.
That's a great example of how, choosing the right appraisal method can just have a huge impact on morale and the project's success.
It was a big lesson learned for me.
Yeah.
So when it comes to these role-specific questions, it's really about demonstrating that I've not only like heard of these concepts, but I've actually applied them in real-world situations.
Yeah, exactly. They want to see that you can walk the walk, not just talk the talk.
Okay, good to know. Now let's move on to the part of the interview that always makes me a little nervous.
Yeah.
Behavioral questions.
Oh, yeah.
These seem like designed to dig into your personality,
Mm.
past experiences.
Well, they are. But that's not a bad thing. Behavioral questions are your chance to shine, to let your personality come through, your experience, and showcase those qualities that make you a great leader.
Okay. Workable.com gives this example.
Mm.
Describe a time when you realized your current management approach wasn't working. For example, you were going off budget or falling behind schedule. How did you respond?
Yeah, great question.
So how do you even begin to tackle like a question like that?
The STAR method is your best friend here.
Okay.
Stands for situation, task, action, result.
Okay.
It's a framework that helps you structure your answer in a way that's clear, concise, and compelling.
Okay, so break that down for me. How to actually use the STAR method to answer that question, like about my management approach going totally off the rails.
Okay, so first you set the scene, the situation.
Okay.
You briefly describe the project, the specific challenges,
Yeah.
maybe the scope expanded unexpectedly or a key vendor dropped the ball. Paint a picture, but keep it concise.
Got it. So I'm not giving them my entire life story, just the highlights that are relevant.
Right,
Okay.
exactly.
So then what?
Then you outline your task, right?
Okay.
What was your specific role? What were you responsible for achieving?
Okay.
What were those goals?
So I'm clarifying my role. I'm setting the stage for what actions I took.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then comes the action. This is where you really shine. Describe the specific steps you took to address that challenge.
Okay.
Did you renegotiate deadlines, bring in additional resources,
Good.
or adjust the scope of the project?
Mhm.
Be specific, give concrete examples of the actions you took.
So this is where I like really show off my problem-solving skill.
Yes.
Right. I'm not just saying, oh, things went wrong. I'm explaining, how I tackled the problem.
Exactly. You're demonstrating your leadership, your ability to adapt, and your commitment to finding those solutions.
Okay. And finally, the result. What was it like the outcome of all your efforts?
Yeah, so this is where you wrap up that story and you highlight the impact of your actions.
Mm-hmm.
Did you bring the project back on track? Did you manage to salvage the budget? What valuable lessons did you learn for future projects?
Okay.
Quantify your achievements when possible.
So instead of just saying, like, things worked out okay, I might say something like, by implementing these specific changes, I was able to, reduce costs by 15% and deliver the project only like 2 weeks behind schedule.
Perfect. Yes, that's much more impactful.
Yeah. This STAR method is like a game changer.
It really is.
It's like a cheat code for telling a good story that highlights my skills.
And the beauty of it is that you can apply it to such a wide range of behavioral questions.
So for instance, if they asked me to describe a time I had to like motivate a team that was feeling demoralized,
Mm-hmm.
I could use the STAR method to walk them through the steps I took to boost morale and get everyone back on track.
Exactly. Or if they asked you about a time you had to deal with a difficult stakeholder.
Yeah.
You can use the STAR method to showcase your communication, your negotiation skills.
Wow. Okay. I'm seeing how versatile it is. It's like having a secret weapon.
It really is. It's all about having a framework to organize your thoughts, and present your experiences clearly and concisely, and in a way that's memorable.
Okay. So I've got my STAR method down. I'm feeling confident about tackling those behavioral questions.
Good.
What other tips does Workable.com offer to help me really seal the deal?
Well, they emphasize the importance of doing your research.
Of course. Of course. You can't just walk in there unprepared.
Right, especially for a senior role, right?
Yeah.
They recommend taking the time to really thoroughly research the company and the specific role.
So stalk their website, dive into their recent projects, maybe check out LinkedIn profiles to get a sense of the company culture.
All great ideas. Yeah, the more you know about, their values, their goals, the challenges they're facing, the better you can really tailor your answers and show why you're, the perfect fit.
It's like showing them you've already put in the work. You're invested in joining their team.
Exactly. And don't forget to prepare some thoughtful questions of your own.
Oh, right.
It shows you're engaged, curious.
Okay. Any tips on what kinds of questions to ask? I don't want to sound generic or clueless.
Think about what really genuinely interests you about the company or the role.
Okay.
Maybe ask about their approach to a specific project you found interesting, or inquire about their long-term vision.
Like I saw you recently partnered with that innovative tech startup. What were some of the key considerations there? Or what are some of the biggest challenges you foresee for the company in the next 5 years?
Those are great examples.
Yeah.
Yeah, they show that you've done your homework and that you're thinking, strategically.
Okay. Research, check. Thoughtful questions, check. Workable.com also mentions practicing your answers out loud.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Is that really necessary? It feels a little silly, like talking to myself in the mirror.
Trust me, it makes a world of difference.
Okay, so I should stand in front of the mirror, channel my inner senior project manager.
Yes.
And just pretend I'm in the hot seat.
Exactly. The more you practice, the more confident and fluent you'll become. It helps you refine your answers, identify those weak spots, and just make sure you're communicating clearly, concisely.
It's like rehearsing for a big presentation.
Yes.
The more you practice, the smoother it goes.
Exactly. And it really helps calm those pre-interview jitters.
Okay, thanks to Workable.com and your brilliant insights, I am feeling so much more prepared for this interview. But before we wrap up, I know you have one final thought-provoking question for our listeners. For all of you out there getting ready for those senior project manager interviews, think back on your career and ask yourself, what one project from your past experience really truly demonstrates those qualities of a successful senior project manager, and why?
And this isn't about picking, the project with the biggest budget or the fanciest title.
No.
It's about finding that one experience that really captures your leadership, your problem-solving skills, that your ability to inspire a team and deliver exceptional results,
Right.
even when faced with, unexpected obstacles.
Yeah, maybe it's a project where, everything that could go wrong did go wrong, but you still managed to rally the team and pull off a success.
Exactly. Or maybe it was a smaller project where you had the chance to implement these innovative ideas, take some risks, and really exceed expectations. Yeah. The key here is being able to articulate why this particular project is such a strong example of your abilities.
Yeah.
What specific challenges did you overcome? What strategies did you use?
Right. What were the actual tangible outcomes?
Yeah, having that clear, compelling story about a project that showcases your strengths. It's not only going to impress those interviewers, it'll also boost your own confidence going into that interview.
It's like having a highlight reel of your project management career.
Exactly.
Ready to go.
And by reflecting on your past and really picking out those key takeaways, you'll be able to articulate your value more effectively, show them why you're the ideal candidate.
This has been such an insightful deep dive. I feel like I've got a whole new understanding of what it takes to succeed as a senior project manager.
And remember, you've got this. You've got the skills, the experience, and now you've got the insights to ace that interview.
So go out there, showcase your brilliance, and land that dream job. good luck.
Mm.
And we'll be here to help you navigate those next steps in your career journey.
Until next time, keep diving deep and never stop learning.